Hi there, my name is Ben. I work at ANU Academic Skills, and I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes about exam preparation. There are three stages to exam preparation: the before stage, the during stage, and the after stage. And preparation is really key in the before stage. It's a good idea to find out as much as you can about the exams you'll be doing. So what type of exams, what type of questions you might be answering, how long are the exams going to be, what is each exam worth in terms of your overall course grading. And you can find out this stuff from your course outline. You can find out about exam rules from the ANU exam website by accessing it at the link below. And quite often your course coordinators will let you know quite a bit about what to expect in the exam over the course of semester. So it's a good idea to listen out for those cues and to tailor your study accordingly. It's also really good to embed time for study into your schedule over the course of semester. Exam preparation isn't really something you should just leave until a week or two before the exam, but something you should do constantly over the course of your semester. And as you can see from the sample semester planner on the screen, this student has done just that. They've set aside time each week to work on different assignments, but also to progress their exam revision. So it's been a constant in their schedule. So in terms of what you can do each week to prepare for exams, summarizing and note-taking based on your weekly readings and lectures and tutorials is a really good practice. And what that means is by the time you get to the end of semester, you'll have a whole body of notes that you can use to do short-term revision. However, many of us will highlight everything or write down absolutely everything we read or hear because it all seems important when we hear it or read it for the first time, but that isn't the most productive way to summarize and take notes. A much better approach would be to read a page of a reading, and then once you get to the end of a page, then highlight what you think was most important and write down what you think was most important. Like I said, when we read something for the first time, it all seems important, so we might be tempted to highlight everything, but when you actually take the time to think back over what you've just read and then note down what you think was most important, that means you'll have a much higher quality and a much more concise body of notes come the end of semester. Once you get closer to the exam period, it's important to be really strategic with your study time, and we would recommend that students use a weekly planner like the one you see on the screen. As you can see, the student has color-coded their time, so there's time for classes, there's times for their non-academic commitments, and then there's all the available study time blocked out around that. And what you can do in the weeks leading up to the exam is allocate different windows of time for different subjects to help you go and work through all that content. And you can download copies of this weekly planner from the Academic Skills website. And it's really important to tailor your revision to the type of exam you're doing. As I said earlier, there are different types of exams. Some will be multiple choice, some will be practical, some will require short essay writing, some will require a combination of different types of exam formats. And ultimately, you should tailor your revision to the particular exam you'll be doing. In general, though, some good strategies for exam preparation and revision would be reviewing and consolidating the notes that you've taken over the course of semester, listening to your lectures, and you can just re-listen to a lecture while you're at the gym or while you're doing the dishes and cleaning at home, just soaking in that content. In addition, if there are past exam papers or practice questions in your textbooks, it's really good to use those for practice purposes. And if you get along quite well with other people in your courses, then it's a good idea to form peer study groups, and you can quiz each other and support each other's learning. Finally, the day of the exam will roll around, and we're going to talk a little bit now about what you can do during the exam. First of all, it probably goes without saying, but don't do anything that you see on this slide right now. All of this is bad practice. Don't go there. What you can do, however, is attempt to answer every question. Don't leave any questions unanswered. Also make sure you use all of the time allocated, so if you feel like you've finished the exam half an hour before the end, don't just skip out of a room. Take that time to go back over your answers and review them, and make sure you answered correctly. Often something that you don't realize at the start of the exam will be unlocked at the end of the exam, so it's good to go back over those early questions as well. And often it's a really good idea to have a plan of attack, and you can see from this table a sample plan of attack where a student has allocated 45 minutes to multiple choice questions, 50 minutes to their short answer questions, so that's about 5 minutes per question, and 65 minutes to their essay question, and have put aside 20 minutes at the end just to review their answers and make any changes. So having that plan of attack can be really useful rather than just sort of going in to the exam and rolling with it. Alternatively, another approach that works for some people is the free pass method. The first pass, you answer all the questions you definitely know the answer to. The second pass, you answer the questions that you think you probably know the answer to. And the third pass is where you tackle all of the questions that you're completely unsure of. So that's another approach. Whichever approach you take, it's a good idea if you do run out of time to make notes for any incomplete answers. You might not get full points for those notes, but you will at least show you've attempted to answer those questions, and you may salvage some marks as a result of that. It's also really important when you're answering exam questions that your answers are focused and on topic. So on the slide now you'll see a sample question from an archaeology exam, and below that you'll see all the sorts of things that you could potentially talk about in answering that question. However, none of those things are actually relevant to answering the question. The only things you need to answer as part of this question is who you would consult and why you would consult them. So keep that in mind when you're answering exam questions. Often it is tempting to try and pack in all your knowledge about a topic, but if that knowledge is not actually answering the specific question, then you won't get marks for it. So do make sure that your answers are focused and really tailored to the question at hand. And also, just as a general rule of thumb, the more grades that the question is worth, spend more time on that question. And the harder that question is, spend more time on that question. Don't devote huge amounts of time to questions that are worth only 1 or 2 points or are fairly easy for you to answer. Focus your energy on where the higher grades are or where there's more difficulty. So let's talk a little bit now about what to do after the exam. And obviously celebration is really, really important, so make sure you celebrate your accomplishments. But it's also good to take some time to reflect, both immediately after an exam and also after you get your grades of that exam. So some things you can reflect on would be how useful were your notes in the exam preparation process? Did you use a best revision strategy? And if not, what might you do differently? Was your exam plan successful? And if not, again, how could you tweak it next time? And what was your worst experience and what did you learn from that? And just taking some time to reflect on these things will really help you prepare for the next exam period. If you have any more questions about preparing for exams, please make a time to come see us at the Academic Skills Writing Centre. We'd love to talk to you and help equip you with some really useful tips and strategies. In the meantime, thank you for listening to this video and all the best with your studies.